Welcome back. Something I'm very excited about, I have to say. I've known about this winemaker and seen her progress for a good 10 or 15 years now. Are some Nebbiolos from Piemonte, predominantly 3 Barolos, and her second wine, if you want to call it, the Langhe Nebbiolo. This again is an exclusive to King James Wine School. I think there may be half a case of one of these, but pretty much I got the total allocation. I actually requested it again. This is me reaching out to importers and requesting certain products from them via the distributor here in the state of Arkansas. And so these are these examples. Barolo, as many of you may know, is amazing. 2016 is heralded to be one of the greatest vintages probably in the last 30 or 40 years. I know other places have done hyperbole on greatest vintages. I think it's probably fair on this one for Barolo. Really are talking one of the greatest vintages for many, many decades. So who are we talking about? We are talking about a lovely lady called Chiara Boschis, who is the first winemaker ever in Piemonte, in Barolo, back in the late 70s, going into the early 80s. She was also part of what was called the Barolo Boys. So in the late 80s going into the 90s, these were the people who together changed the whole philosophy of how to make wine, how viticulture in Barolo vineyards and in the winery. They have been successful. You now see the quality of Barolo has increased dramatically. Chiara was one of those Barolo boys. Obviously she is a female, but the name was generic as being Barolo Boys. And she is now getting into her 60s and is just really making amazing wines. Again, I cannot stress how good these are. Again, with the vintage, this may be some of the best wines she has ever made, along with this 2016 vintage. Barolo 2016s are going to be expensive. They are going to be hard to find. They're going to be highly allocated. That is why I'm so excited to pretty much get the whole allocation. For Arkansas, the whole allocation was mine because I pretty much requested it, is the way to look at it. What are we talking about? These are age-worthy wines. These are wines which are also very ripe at the moment and are able to drink. Obviously, I would advise you to put these down. These are, you're looking at $100, $110 bottles of wine of Barolo, which is actually at this quality with her reputation. Great value when you look at these days. These Cru Barolos coming in at 200, 300, 400, hers being about 100, 110 is great value. Some little fun ones. Villanuevo is her assemblage of her best plots. This is an amazing wine. Venus gave this 100 points. Just believes it's one of the best wines she's ever made. When you look at the Canubi, this is the Canubi, so this is one of the most prestigious vineyards or crus in the whole of Barolo, and she has some vineyards or some lines of vines in there. And then when you look at this one, you're looking at the Mosconi, which is coming out of Monfort d'Alba. So this one has a little bit more structure and power than the other two, so just generally is a little bit more aging. But again, we've literally got 18 bottles of each, I think it is, of each one of these wines. So very, very small quantities. She only makes about 400 cases of each one of these, 400 to 500 cases. And so us getting 2 or 3 cases of each is staggering, considering, she sells all the way around the world and all the way across the US. Then the little fun one, the Langhe. This basically is was declassified vineyards, but is not anymore. This is coming from a specific vineyard on the edge of a Barolo vineyard, is what we're talking about. So amazing. You are not looking at cheap prices for this again. You're talking at great value price point, $38 for a declassified Barolo, in essence, is what we're talking about for a Langhe Nebbiolo. Again, from Chiara, these are a great value for quality. That vineyard would normally be about 60 or 70 bucks from any other producer, and you're getting it for about 38. So again, beautiful wines. I'd highly recommend that you try and allocate or purchase some of these from our allocation. These will probably go relatively quickly with such small production.